Once upon a time, in a quiet little town tucked away in the American South, there lived an old gardener. He wasn't wealthy, nor was he particularly famous, but everyone in the neighborhood admired his steady kindness. Each morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, he picked up a wooden yoke across his shoulders. Hanging from each end were two large metal water jugs. With slow, measured steps, he walked a mile to the stream that cut through the woods, filled the jugs to the brim, and carried them home to water his plants and share with his neighbors. One jug was shiny and flawless. It carried water proudly, never losing a drop. The other jug, however, bore a long crack running down its side. Every single day, by the time the gardener reached home, that cracked jug had leaked half of its water onto the dusty road. The flawless jug often gleamed in the morning sun, as if to say, "I am the one who serves him well." The cracked jug, on the other hand, hung low and silent, ashamed of its weakness. For years this routine continued. One jug full, one half empty. The cracked jug's sadness deepened with every trip. It saw itself as a burden, a failure. While the flawless jug seemed to bask in glory, the cracked jug began to believe the whispers of worthlessness echoing inside its own mind. But what the cracked jug didn't know was that the gardener carried a secret in his heart, a secret that would change everything. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. On one particular morning, the cracked jug could no longer hold back its sorrow. As the gardener lifted the heavy yoke, the jug whispered through its tears, "I'm so sorry. Every day you walk this long road, and every day, because of me, you lose half the water. I've failed you. I've wasted your effort." The old gardener stopped in his tracks. He gently set the yoke down, crouched beside the jug, and looked at it with eyes that carried decades of patience and love. His weathered hands rested softly on the jug's side. "Is that what weighs on your heart?" he asked with a kind smile. "My friend, you have given me more than you realize. Tomorrow, I'll show you something that will make you see yourself differently forever." The cracked jug trembled with confusion. How could this be? I'm broken. I'm weak. What good could I possibly have done? It didn't know that the very flaw it despised had been watering a miracle all along. The next morning, the old gardener walked down the same dusty path with his two jugs swaying from the wooden yoke across his shoulders. The flawless jug sparkled in the rising sun, catching golden light on its polished surface. It seemed almost proud of itself, glimmering as though the world should notice its perfection. Halfway down the trail, the flawless jug couldn't resist speaking up, its voice sharp and smug. "Look at me," it said. "I bring home every drop I'm filled with. The neighbors drink from me, your plants thrive from my water. I never waste a single ounce. Unlike me, you're carrying dead weight on the other side." The cracked jug lowered its gaze, if a jug could do such a thing. Its surface, scarred and imperfect, caught the light in a much less flattering way. Drops of water trickled steadily from its side, darkening the soil with a thin, uneven line. "Why must you always point that out?" the cracked jug whispered, though more to itself than in protest. "Because it's true," the flawless jug replied without hesitation. "You're a disgrace to this man who works so hard. He deserves better than half a jug. He deserves strength, not weakness." The gardener kept walking silently, though he could hear their bickering as clearly as the chirping birds above. He knew the flawless jug's pride, and he understood the cracked jug's shame. But he said nothing, at least not yet. The cracked jug grew quieter as the journey continued. Each step made its heart heavier. It wanted to hold its water. It tried to tighten itself, as though sheer will could stop the dripping. But no matter how hard it wished, the water still leaked, drop after drop. By the time they reached the stream, the cracked jug's sadness had become unbearable. The gardener filled both jugs once more, carefully dipping them into the cool, clear water. The flawless jug brimmed with confidence, gleaming with a perfect reflection of the sky above. The cracked jug, meanwhile, could hardly look at its own surface. On the way back, the flawless jug taunted again, louder this time, as though desperate for the gardener's approval. "Master, can't you see? I am the one who truly serves you. I give you everything you ask." That other jug, he is nothing but a failure. Look at his trail of waste, every drop spilled for no purpose. The cracked jug's tears mixed with the leaking water. It wanted to disappear, to stop being a burden. The gardener's shoulders sagged, not from the weight of the water, but from the sadness he felt for his little cracked companion. He did not scold the flawless jug. He did not silence its pride. Instead, he continued walking, step after step, until they finally reached his home. He placed the yoke down, emptied the water into his barrel, and looked at the cracked jug with quiet compassion. The cracked jug felt utterly defeated. To be mocked by its companion was bad enough. But worse still, it believed the flawless jug was right. What good was a jug that could never deliver what it promised? That night, as the wind rustled through the old gardener's garden, the cracked jug lay awake, haunted by its thoughts. I am nothing. I am broken. Tomorrow, I will tell him to throw me away. The flawless jug, however, rested in pride, satisfied with its day's work, never once questioning its worth. The stage was set for a revelation neither jug could yet imagine. The following morning, the cracked jug trembled as the gardener lifted the yoke onto his shoulders. The weight wasn't the problem, it was the guilt. With every creak of the wooden pole, and every drop that slipped from its side, the jug's heart ached more deeply. Halfway to the stream, while the flawless jug glistened in self-satisfaction, the cracked jug could no longer contain its sorrow. Its voice broke through the morning air, weak and heavy with shame. "Master, I cannot keep silent any longer," it whispered. The gardener paused mid-step. The flawless jug tilted slightly, almost curious, as though eager to hear a confession of failure. The cracked jug continued, its words spilling out like the water it could never hold. "Day after day, I watch you walk this long road, working so hard to bring water home. Yet because of me, you never get the full measure. Half of what you carry is wasted on the ground. I have failed you. I am not worthy to walk by your side. Please forgive me. Perhaps you should replace me." For a moment, the road grew silent. Even the birds seemed to hush. The flawless jug gleamed smugly in the sunlight, as if to say, "See? I was right." But the old gardener did not scold, nor did he agree. Instead, he lowered the yoke carefully to the ground and knelt beside the cracked jug. His weathered hands, lined from years of work in the soil, gently touched the jug's scarred surface. "My little friend," he said softly, his voice warm like the morning sun, "is this what has been weighing on you all this time?" The cracked jug's voice trembled. "Yes, I've carried this shame for so long. I cannot hold what you entrust to me. Every day I fail you. I am broken." The gardener's eyes glistened, not with disappointment, but with compassion. He smiled, not the kind of smile that mocked weakness, but the kind that carried decades of patience, understanding, and quiet wisdom. "Oh, my friend," he whispered, "you see only what you've lost. But I see what you've given." The cracked jug blinked in confusion, unsure if it had heard correctly. The gardener continued, "Tomorrow, I want you to look carefully at the path as we walk home. Watch closely, and then you'll understand what I have always known." The cracked jug didn't know what to say. Its mind swirled with doubt and curiosity. What could he possibly mean? What have I given except loss? The flawless jug, on the other side, scoffed silently. It was certain the gardener was simply being kind to spare the cracked jug's feelings. After all, how could a broken vessel bring anything but disappointment? But the cracked jug held onto the gardener's words. For the first time in a long while, it felt a spark of something unfamiliar. Not hope exactly, but a flicker of possibility. The gardener lifted the yoke once again and resumed his walk, his steps steady and sure. The cracked jug swayed gently, its leak continuing, but now it carried more than water. It carried a mystery waiting to be revealed. And that night, as the moonlight spilled across the little town, the cracked jug did not fall asleep with tears of shame. Instead, it whispered to itself, "What does he see in me that I cannot see in myself?" The next morning arrived with a soft golden glow spreading across the sky. The old gardener lifted the yoke once again, his shoulders bearing the familiar weight of the two jugs. The flawless jug gleamed proudly in the early light, while the cracked jug hung uncertain, its mind still replaying the gardener's words from the day before. For the first time in years, it was not entirely drowned in shame. Instead, it felt a quiet stir of curiosity, like the faint stirring of leaves before a storm. As they made their way down the dirt path toward the stream, the cracked jug whispered, "Master, yesterday you said I should watch closely. What is it that you want me to see?" The gardener only smiled, his face lined with both age and gentleness. "All in good time, my friend. Patience. Some truths are better discovered with your own eyes than spoken with another's tongue." The flawless jug rolled its polished lip in annoyance. "Always riddles with you," it muttered under its breath. What truth could possibly come from a jug that leaks like a sieve? The cracked jug ignored the jab this time. It had grown used to the flawless jug's sharp words, but today something felt different. There was a promise hanging in the air, a promise the gardener had planted like a seed waiting to sprout. They reached the stream, and the gardener filled both jugs to the brim. The water was cool and clear, glistening like liquid glass beneath the morning sun. As he lifted the yoke back onto his shoulders, the cracked jug braced itself for what was to come. "Now," the gardener said softly, "watch." Step by step, they made their way home. The cracked jug kept its eyes fixed on the ground along its side of the path. At first, all it noticed was the same dirt, the same rocks, the same dust it had seen for years. Water dripped from its crack, darkening the soil in uneven patches. But then, just a few feet ahead, something shifted. The soil was no longer bare, it was alive. Tiny flowers poked their heads up toward the light, their petals trembling in the gentle breeze. Wild daisies, golden buttercups, little bursts of color the jug had never truly noticed before. The farther they walked, the more vibrant the scene became. Red blossoms, yellow bursts, purple blooms, all dancing as though welcoming the morning. The cracked jug gasped. "Well, what is this?" The gardener smiled. "Keep looking." Step after step, the once barren roadside unfolded into a ribbon of color. Butterflies fluttered above the blossoms. Bees hovered gently, gathering nectar. A fragrance rose into the air, sweet, delicate, filling the path with life. For the first time in years, the cracked jug felt something other than shame. It felt wonder. It felt a spark of joy. But then, as they neared the house, its heart sank again. The jug looked down and saw that, just as always, half its water was gone. Its voice faltered, heavy once more. "Master, the flowers are beautiful, but still, I have failed you. I could not hold what you needed. I am still broken." The gardener set the yoke down gently and crouched beside the jug, his eyes shining with warmth. "No, my little friend. You are not broken, you are a blessing. Did you not see? The flowers bloomed only on your side of the path. For months, I planted seeds there, knowing you would water them drop by drop. And every day, you brought beauty to this road. The children pick these flowers and carry them home. Families bring them to church on Sunday. Travelers smile when they pass. None of this would exist without you." The cracked jug fell silent, its shame melting away like frost under the sun. For the first time, it dared to believe that perhaps its weakness was not a curse after all. The cracked jug stood in stunned silence. The gardener's words echoed louder than the song of the morning birds. The flowers bloomed only on your side of the path. It replayed the journey in its mind, the colors, the butterflies, the sweet fragrance that still lingered in the air. Each drop it had once cursed as waste had become a gift. "But, Master," the cracked jug stammered, "I only ever saw loss. Every step, I felt weaker. Every trip, I feared I was letting you down. How could I have been creating something so beautiful when all I felt was failure?" The gardener smiled knowingly, his weathered face glowing with kindness. He rested his calloused hand against the jug's cracked side. "My friend, you looked only at what you couldn't hold. But I looked at what you gave. Your drops gave life to seeds that no one else noticed. Day after day, while you carried your shame, you were creating joy for the world." The cracked jug's surface trembled as tears of water slipped from its crack, not from sorrow this time, but from wonder. From the corner of the road, voices echoed. Two children skipped down the path, their hands full of the very flowers that had grown along the way. Their laughter rang like bells. One child called out, "Look, these will make Mama smile." The other shouted, "And we'll take some to church tomorrow." The cracked jug's heart swelled. It saw how its leaking water was not waste, it was nourishment. What it believed to be weakness had become a river of hidden strength. Meanwhile, the flawless jug sat silent, its pride suddenly hollow. It looked at its own side of the path, bare, dry earth, no blossoms, no fragrance, no butterflies. Its perfection had left no gift behind. The gardener turned his gaze to both jugs. "You see, one of you carries strength, and the other carries beauty. Both of you matter. But you, my cracked friend, you turned weakness into blessing. You gave the town something that will outlast every drop of water you ever lost." The cracked jug felt something it had never known before: pride. Not the hollow pride of perfection, but the deep pride of purpose. It whispered, almost in disbelief, "So I was never useless?" The gardener's smile deepened. "No, my little one, you were never useless. You were always chosen for something greater than you realized." For the first time in its life, the cracked jug no longer tried to hold its water tighter. It let the drops fall freely, knowing each one carried life and color. That day, the road to the gardener's home seemed different, not a path of shame, but a pathway of purpose. That evening, the gardener set his jugs down by the garden fence. The flawless jug gleamed in the fading sunlight, proud but strangely quiet. The cracked jug, however, felt lighter than it ever had before, not because it carried less water, but because it carried no shame. As twilight fell, the cracked jug reflected on the day. "All those years, I believed I was broken. All those years, I thought I was a burden. But every drop I lost had been planting beauty into the world. Could it be my weakness was never a curse? Could it be I was meant for this all along?" The children's laughter from earlier still echoed in its memory. It saw their little hands clutching flowers, their eyes shining with joy. It remembered the fragrance that had followed them down the path, the way passers-by paused to admire the blooms. For the first time, the cracked jug realized that its value could not be measured in gallons of water alone. The flawless jug, usually quick to gloat, now watched silently. Its side of the road was barren. Its pride suddenly felt shallow compared to the cracked jug's hidden gift. Yet it could not admit it. It only muttered, "At least I never lost a drop." The gardener, overhearing, gently spoke. "Yes, you have always been strong and steady, and I am grateful for that. But perfection without purpose leaves the world unchanged. Both of you serve me, but in very different ways." The flawless jug said no more. The cracked jug, meanwhile, felt something new stirring inside. Pride, not the arrogant pride of being flawless, but the humble pride of knowing it had meaning. It whispered to the gardener, "So my crack, it is not something to be ashamed of?" The gardener's kind eyes glowed in the soft light of dusk. "No, my little one. Your crack is what makes you unique. What you thought was weakness has become your strength. Without it, the path would be barren, the children would have no flowers, and the town would lack its beauty." The cracked jug's tears spilled again, but now they were tears of joy. Each drop that leaked no longer felt like loss, it felt like a gift being given. From that day forward, the cracked jug no longer tried to hide its flaw. It walked the path proudly, letting the water fall where it would, knowing each drop was part of something larger than itself. And as weeks turned into months, the flowers grew thicker and brighter along the road, a living testimony that imperfection, when embraced, could create miracles. Travelers began to notice. Some stopped to gather blossoms. Others simply walked slower, taking in the colors and fragrance. The once dusty road became known as the flower path, a place where people came not just to travel, but to find joy. And every time the cracked jug looked upon that trail of color, it no longer saw weakness, it saw legacy. Seasons passed, and the road that once stretched plain and dusty had transformed into a living canvas. Wildflowers bloomed in waves of color, sunlit yellows, deep purples, fiery reds, spilling their beauty across the path like brushstrokes of nature's own hand. Travelers paused to take photographs, families gathered bouquets for their homes, and children ran ahead, their laughter filling the air as they clutched handfuls of blossoms. The cracked jug no longer hung in silence, burdened by shame. It walked with quiet dignity beside the flawless jug, each step a reminder of the purpose it now embraced. The water it leaked was no longer wasted, it was life, color, and joy. One morning, as they reached the stream, the cracked jug turned to the gardener and whispered, "Master, I used to dread this road. Every drop I lost felt like proof of my failure. But now, I see the flowers, the children, the smiles. I see meaning in what I thought was weakness. Thank you for helping me understand." The gardener knelt down, placing a gentle hand on its weathered side. His voice was steady, warm, filled with a wisdom that seemed older than the hills themselves. "My little one, you were never less than perfect. You are perfect in your own way. Strength takes many forms. Sometimes it is found in what holds together. Other times, it is found in what spills out to bless the world. Your crack was never your shame, it was your gift." The cracked jug let the words sink in. For the first time, it felt whole, not because it had been fixed, but because it no longer needed fixing. The flawless jug, though still polished and proud, could not help but glance at the flowers along the cracked jug's side of the path. Its own side remained bare, dry, and silent. For the first time, even it began to wonder whether perfection without giving was truly perfection at all. As the sun climbed higher, the gardener lifted the yoke once again. The road stretched before them, lined with blossoms swaying gently in the breeze. He smiled at both jugs, his heart swelling with gratitude. And so, what began as an unseen weakness had become a legacy. A cracked jug that once wept with shame now walked with pride, knowing its imperfection had brought beauty, laughter, and peace to an entire community. The story of the cracked jug spread through the town. Parents told it to their children, preachers shared it in Sunday sermons, and neighbors spoke of it at their kitchen tables. It became a parable that carried far beyond the little road, reminding people everywhere, we all have cracks, we all carry flaws, but those very imperfections can shape the world in ways we may never imagine. So when you look at your own scars, when you hear the voice of comparison telling you that you are less, remember the cracked jug. Remember that what feels broken may actually be your greatest strength. Because sometimes the most beautiful paths are watered by the cracks we once despised. If this story touched your heart, don't just keep it to yourself, share it. Someone you know might be carrying the same shame the cracked jug once felt, and your share could be the reminder they need today. Give this video a like if it inspired you. Drop a comment below. What's one crack in your life that actually helped you grow? And don't forget to subscribe to Buddha's Pathway, because tomorrow's story might be the one that shifts your perspective again. We've got more tales of resilience, hope, and transformation coming your way. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Remember, your cracks don't define your limits. They define your impact.